Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's your latest transfer news where we give you all the latest Manchester United transfer news with that real United Stand opinion. And we're going to start off with Dybala. We'll talk about Cancelo. We'll talk about Declan Rice. And we've also got a big reveal. The Hotometer will be unveiled today. You can't miss this. But let's start off with a little bit of off topic but on topic from yesterday. Bruno Fernandes. The development around Manchester City keeps developing and developing. And I just want to say that there was something from Goal yesterday. There was something from Sky Sports yesterday. Now Goal is saying that City are going to get Bruno Fernandes for around £43 million. And immediately United fans react with disgust. How can they get him for £43 million when we'd have to pay £80 million? Well, this is to do with the fact that they would give a couple of players to them as well. Maybe loanees, maybe players as part of that deal. So £43 million for Bruno Fernandes plus a couple of players. And then Sky Sports quite interestingly talking about it as well, saying that they'll pay between 50 and 60 million for Bruno Fernandes. Remember, City don't normally go over 60 million as they see him as a replacement for Fernandinho. Fernandinho is a centre defensive midfielder. Bruno Fernandes is not a centre defensive midfielder. So my feeling at the moment is that with Bruno Fernandes, I don't buy this Man City story. I know he could end up going there and they're miles ahead of anybody, and then they're getting a player that I think would be good for us, so he's going to be good for them, and it's worrying. But I do just think it's a bit of a scattergun approach. You've also got Bernardo Silva, who is at Man City, who is Portuguese, talking about Bruno Fernandes. The reality is, if he goes to Man City, we can sulk, we can be moody, whatever, but the reality is that Manchester City is by far the more attractive option than Manchester United at the moment. And that's what we're up against. And I said this last night as well. We can have the money, we can have the fight, we can have the desire to rebuild the club, but you might have to get in line behind more attractive propositions, and Manchester City are certainly that. But we'll come back to Bruno Fernandes a minute in relation to the Hotometer. Big news yesterday was Paulo Dybala. And as you can see, I haven't actually put a value under Dybala because I don't really know what it would be. 25 years of age, £85 million deal we were apparently linked to yesterday. This is coming from, I read it was on TalkSport via, I think it was Calcio Mercato in Italy. Dybala United. He's been linked to United before. I've got to say this, and again, I will be honest about things throughout the transfer window. I like Dybala because I do follow Italian football. I like Dybala, but he is not what Manchester United need. He's a shirt seller. He is inconsistent. He has been in and out of the Juventus team this year, but even before that, he was inconsistent. He's a very, very good player on his day. But he's very inconsistent as well. And at £85 million as the marquee signing, again, to me, it just demonstrates a lack of knowledge of what Manchester United need in that dressing room and as part of a rebuild. You need people who are talented but consistent and workers and leaders. We need some of that character. And I don't see that with Dybala. I don't see a leader. I don't see consistency. I do see talent, but I see potentially... And now people talk about the link up with Pogba, but... I think it's party time. I think it's when it's good, but when it's mediocre, and we don't need that. So I don't think it's the right signing for United. But I do like Dybala, and if we do the deal, I'll support it. But I don't necessarily think it's right for United. I really don't. I just don't. I think it's another Galactico signing. I mean, it's like yesterday. We've spoken about Bale. I'm not going to dwell on Bale, but apparently United and a loan deal for Bale coming through again. 30 years of age. Injury prone, on the decline, wants one last payday, is the Welsh Sanchez. It's not the signing we need. Galacticos are not what United need at this point. They're not. We need to rebuild from the bottom to the top, and a Galactico is not going to help us do that. And when I say Galactico, I mean one of these star-studded shirt sellers. I can't think of many shirt. I mean, somebody said Neymar. I was like, you're having a laugh? Neymar. I mean, can you turn down Neymar? Probably not. But is he what Manchester United need? I mean, can you imagine Neymar at United next year when things are going wrong? He'll be hands on his hips. He'll be throwing his hands in the air. Neymar's a good player, but you don't need that sort of character in the team. And I think we need to wise up as a fan base as well and start resisting these sort of signings and saying, look, this is what we've tried and it doesn't work for United. Of more interest to me, let me just say as well, link in the video description for Football Index. As you can see, Football Index is the football stock market game where you can buy shares in real life players. The link is in the video description for that. Unlike your traditional betting where you bet a £10 on United to win and you lose it, if you buy yourself like 20 quid's worth of shares in Paulo Dybala, as you can see, his price is going up at the moment. Let me just show you the graph for him over the last 3 months. It's been rising gradually. What happens, and the reason that it becomes more prevalent, I mean, you look at Paul Pogba's price. I mean, you wouldn't believe Paul Pogba's price has gone from £4 up to nearly £8. It's nearly doubled in the last 3 months, and I think he'll go north of 10 quid in the summer. Not because of performances on the field, but because of performances in relation to transfer news. So the way that prices go up in the stock market on Football Index is performance on the pitch, but they go up a lot more in relation to transfer news and news in the paper. So the summer is a great time to get on these players. And you look at people like Phil Foden, his price has gone up because he's playing. Messi's playing tomorrow. But Bruno Fernandes, look at the price of Bruno Fernandes. He, over the last 6 months, has gone from under 50 pence to over £2 a share. If he goes to Man City or he goes to United, he will be north of, I would say, £4. In fact, put your money where your mouth is, Goldbridge. I'll have 10 shares in him because he's going to go up and I'll make a bit of money on him. So, confirm buy. I've just bought 193 shares in Bruno Fernandes. I'll sort that out in a minute. I've made a bit of an error there, but a big error. But there is my portfolio. I've got a lot of players that I think are going to go up in price over the summer. And Dembele, Bruno Fernandes, Icardi, Gomez, Bergwijn. So lots of players like that. The link's in the video description if you want to play. Remember, you've got to be over 18 and do gamble responsibly. But like I say, if you're going to do it, I'd go in with a minimum of 20 quid. Get your shares in the players that are going to go up over the summer. And as I said, Pogba will go over 10 quid very, very quickly, despite his performances on the pitch, because he's going to be heavily linked to transfers all summer. And he's one of the biggest personalities in football. So Pogba's definitely a good player to get some shares in. Anyway, another player we've been linked to is Cancelo. Now, Cancelo is interesting. Another Portuguese player, a right back. He's only recently signed for Juventus. He only signed last summer. He's contracted till about 2020. I think it's 2023 or something like that. But he hasn't actually played that much football for Juventus. My understanding with Cancelo is that he is an agent. His agent is George Mendes. Now, I might be wrong on that, but I think it is. And yet again, I think with George Mendes, you've got a situation where he's not the agent of Bruno Fernandes, but it's that Portuguese connection. And again, in the Man City story, they're talking about Bruno Fernandes, George Mendes being the agent that oversees the deal. And it's interesting with Cancelo because he didn't play in the Champions League against Ajax, and apparently that's really frustrated him. United right back, look, we have got Dalot, and I believe that Meunier is a more suitable signing. But Cancelo, I think he's going to be 25 very soon. He's experienced and he's Portuguese, and he would work very, very well again alongside Dalot. So I think it'd be a good signing. I think you'd get him for about £40 million. Would Juventus want to sell him? Would he want to move? He's certainly a player that excites me, and I know a lot of you've mentioned him in the past. So I do like him. I think it'd be very, very interesting for Manchester United. But as I've said before, I think it comes down to George Mendes and how that will work. Now, what I want to bring in here is the Hotometer. This has got what you're going to see. So smash a like on the video for this. Great graphics from the Draughty Devil again. This is the Goldbridge Rumoured Media Transfers Hotometer. And we're going to bring this in, not every show, but we will bring it into a lot of shows. What I'm basically doing is, over the season, I'm going to have a top 7 players based on who I think are the most likely players to Manchester United this summer. Now, obviously, we haven't had much of this transfer window. We've had none of it. We've only been doing Transfer Daily for less than a week. The transfer window opens up next week, and it will change. And at this point in time, you can't do 10 out of 10 because that means they've signed. And effectively, 6 is 60% chance, 5 is 50%, 7 is 70% chance. So I think to be over 50% sure of someone coming to United at the moment would be ridiculous. So at the moment, that's my top 7 players that I think are going to come to United. But as I say, Bruno Fernandes, it's only a 6 out of 10. I'm 60% sure he'll come to United. And to be honest with you, that's because I don't believe the Man City stories. I know how much United have scouted him. I know a couple of people have told me that United are after him. So I would rank him the highest. Manolas is simply there because he's a Mino Raiola client. He's got a £32 million release clause and he's cheap. I don't want to sign him. I just think cheap is why we will. Meunier, again, is a player I would sign. £20 million. I think he's quite likely. Alderweireld, we're dropping down to 40% sure here. I mean, not really confident. Again, he's got a cheap price in August. Gareth Bale again, Bergwijn at PSV at 3 out of 10, and then Sancho, only because I've told we're after Sancho. I personally don't think that will happen. So that's my hotometer at the moment. I'm sure it's going to change. Next time it does change, I'll pop it up for you. That's what she said. But get in the comments and tell me what you think about that. At this moment in time, what would you have as your, not who you want, who you think, and that's where I am at the moment. So smash a like on the video for that. Another little bit of extra for you on the Transfer Daily. But let's talk about Declan Rice. 20 years of age. He is the sort of player that I think Manchester United fans are starting to think we need. And when you have Dybala on one side, who is a Galactico shirt seller, who I think is inconsistent and probably not we need. To be honest with you, Dybala is the icing on the cake. We've got to bake the cake first. There's no point in having the icing if you've got a shit cake, and I think that's what United have got. Now, Declan Rice, I saw him playing against United. I've seen him play a few games. I must admit, 2 months ago when we were linked to him, we were doing okay. I was like, no, he's not what we need. We need the icing on the cake, because I thought we had a cake 2 months ago. We haven't got a cake now, and we're going to lose Herrera, which I didn't think was going to happen, and we might lose Pogba. So Declan Rice for me, look, I think he's played over 30 times for West Ham this season. He's not scored many goals. I think he's got 3 goals, but that's not his position really. He's more of a defensive midfielder. He's more slightly box to box, which is what we need. But what I like about Declan Rice is he has got that tenacity, which I love. He has got that potential leadership. He has got that desire, and he has got that hunger to grow. And I think they tick a lot of the boxes for what Manchester United need. On top of that, he solves a lot of problems of what we need in our midfield, because we're lacking that. So I would like him. I mean, my only concern is how much we'd have to play for him, because West Ham has said they'll sell him for the right price, but I think the right price could. I mean, 80 million it says there, and I'm maybe 60 million, but I just don't know. I think I've heard people saying Declan Rice 40 million. Well, that's probably realistic, but he's an English player being sold by an English club that doesn't want to sell him. I think we might price ourselves out of Rice, which is why I haven't put him in the hotometer really. But he is a player that I do like the look of, and I wouldn't mind him coming to Manchester United, I've got to say. But and I certainly think he would be. He's the sort of signing that we should be going for. You look at my hotometer, and I think, I look there and I think, yeah, Jadon Sancho, even Steven Bergwijn, definitely Bruno Fernandes. Those players who are looking to go to the next big club, a big club move with a point to prove. That move rhymes with prove. And I think that's what United need. And for Declan Rice, it would be that I've got potential. Now I'm moving to a bigger club to prove and build and grow and develop. And I think that is the sort of signing United need to be looking at. So, yeah, I do like the look of it. I don't know how likely it is. I don't personally have Declan Rice in my hotometer. I don't think United will be signing him. I think he would cost a lot of money. I mean, he literally has just signed a new contract. He's one of England's brightest prospects, I suppose. And I don't think West Ham would sell him on the cheap. But a lot of it will depend on how much Manchester United want to spend this summer. And also, if you look at my hotometer there, Manolas is not a player I want to sign, but he's available for 32 million. Alderweireld is a very good centre-back, but I would question why Toby Alderweireld would want to leave Spurs, who are in a brilliant new stadium. They've got a very, very good manager. They are in the Champions League next year, and he is 30, coming up for 31. Why, as a United fan, no matter how good do I think Alderweireld is, why would I want him? He's betraying everything that is wrong with our club. He's coming towards the end of his career. He's into his 30s. He's looking for a big increase in wages, and he's leaving a club in the Champions League to come to a club in the Europa League. It's a step down for money. And do we want that sort of player? I don't think we do, but I think we might move for him because he's available for 25 million. So Alderweireld's a divider anyway, but I think we need a different brand of player, I really do. Anyway, please do drop a like on the video. Very, very good show today. Graphics absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of good comments in there. Give us your own hotometer below. What are your, not what you want, what you think. What are your top signings at the moment? Rank them if you want to. What's your thoughts on Dybala? You might disagree with me. Cancelo, Declan Rice, Alderweireld. And remember, if you want to have a go on Football Index, the stock market game where you can buy real shares in real players for fun and have a bit of a game. Gamble responsibly. Over 18s only. I would get shares in Pogba. I think Pogba's price will be over £10 a share very, very, very quickly. The link is in the video description. Thanks everyone for watching. Back again tonight at 8 o'clock. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you very soon.